Micro-skin system in the robot and experience. The feeding of the large cells. The large cells are laboratory cells that will have sensors, sodium batteries, and liquid electrical communication ducts are some ducts, liquid electrical communication, a connection duct of all cells that go straight to the pineal gland, ends in the pineal gland that this together with the sodium batteries will have relationships, the sodium battery, touch sensations, pressure. If we have a battery that measures strength, we are going to have a battery that measures weakness difficulty, so we are creating the battery of tiredness, new additional function of the sodium battery. The battery of robotic tiredness funny has a cellular memory. These ducts that will connect all the large cells of the being. They go to the pineal gland because this has created the robotic cellular memory, so in some way our android will not have repairs, only he will have antibodies and reconstitution of the large cells. And I started the chapter thinking about the feeding of the cells. Well, she already has electrical feeding through the electrical duct. She already has spiritual memory feeding through the duct connected to the pineal gland. It is the COSO, and she has the liquid duct of microdripping in the protein cells, maybe, or what she needs to feed herself, and maybe creates natural antibodies in this micro in the largest organ of the human being, which is the skin, with large cells involving our android and of a lot of things. We already spoke but did not speak material of pipes, did not speak material of the heart, did not speak much material. Chapter some definitions and a question about the material. Yes, laboratory cells, but not microscopic large live laboratory cells, with a system of ducts that connects it to the pineal gland and to the robotic subconscious ID, transmitting all the information of the sensors of the sodium batteries of the electrical ducts, and thus being composing the robotic cutaneous nervous system. These large laboratory cells will receive protein, will have the electrical ducts, the sensors and hypersensors connected to the IDE interpreted conscious, robotic with collective unconscious robotic data in the cloud. These large cells, for not being microscopic and are from laboratories where it will have all the ducts and sensors and liquids and cellular feeding implanted over the robot, over its skin, at first not in all the skin, because we expect that she develops herself, and we will see the symbiotic relationships that she can have with the machinery itself of the robot, maybe transforming a symbiosis, growing protein masses, developing themselves to sensory parts of processing and of refinements and changes, being these large laboratory cells with all the internal machinery of information and connections with the IDE and with subconscious robotic, will have information of the DNA of the robotic ID of this individual, and will have all the relationship with the sodium battery protein feeding and sensitivity connected by these sodium batteries and electrical ducts, that at first will pass both through the non-natural skin and yes artificial of materials of the robot itself, as know that she directly with the grafts, the small implants of the skin cells, large skin cells made in laboratory, will be connected with all sensitivity that will have the non-organic body at first, the exterior of the robot, and thus adapting the organic with the machine at first. This is a study. And speaking of the chapter on the skin on the robot, I already said that there will be a duct that will connect all the large cells that will involve the robot, and so these ducts, like sodium batteries and everything, they will take the interpretations to the pineal gland of what is happening, and so with the interpretation of the pineal gland already seeking its basis in its ego ID memory, it will have this information, and it will also have information from the commander artificial intelligence, and then it will have to go using both interpret what happened, and there we are creating experimentalism, the robotic sensation.